Welcome to the NWI.com Political Roundtable, a special edition for Thursday, April 3rd. I'm Robert Blaskowitz, Assistant Managing Editor of The Times. Joined with me, Doug Ross, Editorial Page Editor of The Times, and Gary Mayor Karen Freeman-Wilson. Thank you for joining us, Mayor.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, let's start off talking about some of the challenges that you're facing right now in the city. And one of the biggest priorities, of course, is taking down abandoned buildings, including the old Sheraton Hotel.
Absolutely. We have made it a priority to really look at the demolition of buildings that have been long abandoned in the city of Gary. And one of those buildings that you can see from the toll road and has been an eyesore in our community for a long time is the Sheraton. It is coming down as we speak. They have started with the asbestos remediation, and we fully expect it to be completed by the end of the year. So that will be a great victory for the citizens of Gary to get that eyesore out of our downtown area.
Well, now there are other buildings downtown that you're talking about along, the west side of Broadway in particular. Can you address those?
Well, we have partnered with the State Office of Rural and Community Affairs to focus on the 600 block of Broadway on the west side, and then there's another building on 6th and Monroe that's a danger to children, the old Ambassador Apartments building that is being demolished as well. And the important part of that is that it really fits into the new look of the 400, 500, and 600 blocks of Broadway. Earlier this year, we completed a renovation of City Hall, both inside and out. We power washed it, we cleaned the dome, and so that's part of the 400 block. The Sheraton is part of the 400 block. Then the 500 block will be seen through the refurbishing and the rehabilitation of the 504 Broadway building, the bank building. And we anticipate a new tenant that will have a driveway that is right off of Broadway. All of that will change the look of the 500 block, and then of course the demolition that will occur in the 600 block across from the state office building, and you'll see a brand new look to the entire downtown Gary area.
Have you heard from developers who are interested in coming in once some of these buildings are out of the way?
Actually, yes. In fact, the 504 Broadway building is being done by a private developer. We are also in conversations with other developers who may want to take that open area and simply place any building or other potential structures that might go in that area.
Okay. We should talk also about, one of the deterrents to economic development that people have talked about is crime. Where do you stand on getting the crime problem?
Well, we were very concerned about the rise in crime, or actually the rise in our murder rate last year. Crime actually went down in every other area, but the fact that it went up in the most serious category really caused me not to pay any attention to where it was reduced. And so our focus is really to say to those individuals, because I understand, and those who have practiced and have been involved in the criminal justice arena long enough understand that it's only a handful of criminals that are perpetrating crimes throughout the community. Let's focus on those criminals, and not just focus on them in a punitive way, but focus on them in a way to say, we will help you to become law-abiding citizens, if that's your intent. But if you are otherwise intentioned, we will hold you accountable. And that's the message our police department is sending. That's the message that we're working with the Lake County probation and parole departments to send. That's the message that we're going to work with those in the faith community, educators, those who might hire individuals who have had problems in the past. We want to support people when they want to change their lives, but we will hold them accountable when they don't. And since we're only talking about a small percentage of the population, we think it's doable, we think it's achievable, and we are confident that it will result in a reduction in our crime.
Okay. One of the other issues that we've talked about for a long time for Gary is the need for a trauma center.
Yes.
And also potentially a teaching hospital. Can you update us on that?
So right now there is a study being done on the feasibility of a trauma center and teaching hospital in Northwest Indiana. Now we know, or we believe, that it will show that the best place for that is right where our only medical school is in Northwest Indiana, and that's in Gary, on the Indiana University Northwest campus, or near that campus. And the city is more than ready to work with either Methodist Hospital and other hospitals to make that come to pass. We have seen Methodist step up in hiring trauma physicians. You have the director of the ER, Michael McGee. There's a new trauma surgeon, Dr. Ruben Rutland, who's there. They filed an application with the state for a level 2 trauma center. And so we think that not only is this something sorely needed from a healthcare standpoint in Northwest Indiana, but it's certainly a very viable economic development tool for the city of Gary. And we've seen that happen. If you look at the area that houses Rush Presbyterian Hospital in Illinois, you see the area around the University of Chicago. All of those areas have just seen economic development that has been spurred, I think, by the existence of healthcare institutions.
Another project that, of course, is centered on economic development is the airport. And
Yes.
where is the process with the privatization and the expansion of the airport, and what are your hopes for that?
Well, we are extremely excited with the private partner that has joined the Garrett Airport Authority Board, AFCO Avports, Mike Mullen from Centerpoint Properties, as well as Guggenheim and Luke Capital. So not only do we have the expertise and the management of an airport, but we have the expertise that comes with the development of land in an industrial footprint, and you have the financial wherewithal to get it done. And to have someone come to the table and be willing to make a $100 million investment that will also work to create jobs for local residents, business opportunities for local businesses, I think that's an all-around win, especially since the Garrett Airport Authority will continue to have the final say. So we didn't sell the airport, we didn't give it away, we brought in partners with the expertise to help us manage and run the airport, but more importantly to develop the land in its footprint in a way that will serve citizens for years to come.
We've talked about the airport as a huge regional asset.
Absolutely.
And you've been doing things as mayor that seems to look beyond your city, more of a regional view toward, for instance, supporting the South Shore extension to Dyer, the Iliana Expressway and so forth. Could you address why you're looking in that direction?
Well, one of the things that I understand is that in a city like ours that has so many city assets that can benefit a region, whether you're talking about the airport, whether you're talking about the lakefront, whether you're talking about U.S. Steel, all of those are Gary assets, but they serve far beyond the city of Gary. Likewise, when you have the Iliana, when you have an expansion of a South Shoreline, those are assets that may not be directly in the city of Gary, but it can serve the city of Gary. And then our support of the expansion came with our support of the existing line and investment in the existing line, because we're particularly interested in transit-oriented development, and it also came with our support of investment in existing busing. Right now, the Gary Public Transit Corporation is the only provider that gives service throughout Lake County. We want to see that expand. We think that that not only benefits the citizens of Gary, but it benefits citizens in other parts of the city, of the county, and of the region who depend on bus transportation. And so I don't have a problem. I think it's important that I think much more globally, and in that global thinking, look at the benefits to Gary citizens that exist in Northwest Indiana, that exist in the tri-state region, Gary, Southeast Wisconsin, Northwest Indiana, and then certainly in the Midwest.
Okay. I think that's about all the time we have.
That's about all the time we have this week. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us, and thank you for watching this special edition of the Political Roundtable. We'll be back next week.
Thank you, and I enjoyed being here and look forward to the next time.